Good morning. Welcome to this week's show of Coffee with KPP Live, December 1st of 2020, the first day of the last month of what has been an incredible year. And Rob and I are so grateful to have you watching throughout the week. We're getting thousands of people to watch these shows. Thank you for all the feedback we're getting. Just a reminder, Kentucky Planning Partners is located at the corner of Shelbyville Road and Hurstbourne Lane in the heart of Louisville's East End. We are a fully comprehensive financial planning firm, and in lieu of COVID, we've decided to deliver this material to the public to make sure you all know that you have professional financial advice available here in town or really from anywhere else in the country. So with that said, I'm Kyle Roy, financial advisor with Kentucky Planning Partners, joined with Rob Davenport, co-founder and president of KPP.
Good morning. You know, it hasn't been an incredible year. It's been a disappointing year for so many. I think it's a 1 star out of 5 stars year. It's really been sad for a lot of people. I mean, there's been a lot of business owners that have been impacted by COVID-19. There's been a lot of people that have had family pass away or get very, very sick. And I think we need to recognize that. This is not a hoax. It's real. Mm-hmm. People deal with it differently. We get that. But I think we still all need to be, we need to have our guard up. We need to be cautious because it's serious. I mean, Kyle? It's pretty serious.
Yeah, it is. And some of you might notice that Rob and I, we're actually maintaining relative distance in the office. We might not be too close now, but I'm just coming off of a 2.5-week quarantine because COVID-19 had ripped through my family. Thank God everybody is okay. My wife, Michelle, definitely got it the worst of all of us. She's okay. But to your point, it's absolutely real. And Michelle even said if it's one of those things where if you got COVID piled on with the flu or something, another sickness, it can go badly very quickly, like it has for so many people. So
even for young, healthy people.
That's exactly right.
You know, this doesn't just affect the 88-year-old in the nursing home. This can affect the 37-year-old healthy mother or father as well. So with that, we won't spend all day on COVID, but we just know that our hearts go out to those families that have been impacted and those business owners that have been impacted. And maybe this is a good reminder for those watching that try to do business with people that have been impacted. Try to do a little bit more takeout. Try to help those that have small businesses here locally, shop locally, help locally owned business owners, and always take time to thank all those first line healthcare workers that are working tirelessly around the clock to save lives every day in these hospitals and other medical facilities. So I don't think a minute or a day should go by without us realizing the impact that this has on so many people's lives.
Yeah, you're absolutely, and that's really the conversation that Rob and I wanted to have today is looking back on the year. You're right, incredible was a bad adjective to use to describe it, but unique, just difficult, humbling. Right. There's so many words we can use to describe the year, but you're right. And I think one of the takeaways that I've had from the year is looking at the things that we get to do, not necessarily that we have to do. There are so many people right now that have built extraordinary businesses or have had an education to go to work every day and do the things they love, and they might look at those things as a job, something that they have to get up and do, but we encourage you to look at it differently. You get to go to work, you get to earn a living and help others in the way that you're uniquely able to do that. And at KPP, we have the opportunity, we get to help our clients secure their financial future. And looking at the environment that we're in, what COVID has really done, I think, has shown us all a bit of humility that our systems, our economy is fragile. Our way of life has been fragile, the way that we've known it. What is the new normal going to look like? And our bodies are fragile, and we know how quickly things can change.
Right.
And to make that transition into what we do, we want to make sure we encourage everybody that in lieu of that fragility, we want to talk about the importance of financial planning.
And we can really only help those people who allow us to help them. The Jerry Maguire saying, "Help me help you," a quote I've stolen for years, but it's true. In our line of work, we can only assist people who come into our office and sit down and take a little bit of time out of their lives to get organized, to build a financial plan. And I know that I say this over and over and over, but it is very, very important to at some point in your life take a stop, a time out with your spouse if you're married, and mathematically add up everything that makes up your net worth, and put all the components into a financial plan that we know how to complete with your collaboration, and figure out a path, figure out a trajectory, and I think a lot of people might not start the financial planning process because they're afraid of what they might see.
That's right. Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's funny because what I found is that most people, when they do build a financial plan, in your career, 30 years of doing this,
right,
what percentage of people find out that they had less than what they thought? Don't most people realize, oh my gosh, I've got more, and it's more complex than what I thought?
That's right.
I've just last week, a very dear friend, we built a financial plan, new client, and he said, I never factored my rental properties into my financial plan. Well, there are 4 of them, right? And that's a really important part. So you might look at your financial life and think it's only your 401k, but it's a really important question to ask. If, God forbid, something happens to you or your spouse or both of you, A, do you know where everything is, your assets? Do you have a plan? If you know where it is, do you have an updated plan? In other words, do you have your beneficiaries properly stated for each asset? So if, God forbid, something happens to you, is it an outdated plan? Just yesterday, a good friend of mine said, gosh, I looked at my family photo over the mantle. There are only 2 of my boys in the picture. They have 4 boys, and the youngest is 12 years old, right? It's kind of like the family picture.
That's right.
And if you do have it all up, if you do have your plan updated, if something happened to you, do your children or beneficiaries know where that plan is and how it will be executed? And if the answer is no to any of those questions, you should come in and sit down with us and get everything in order.
It's kind of like after Thanksgiving, come Monday morning, I do not stand on the scale. I do not want to know that I have probably gained 7 pounds in 4 or 5 days from laying around and eating the various pies my wife has baked and all the turkey and all the other things. So
yeah,
it's sometimes we as human beings, we don't want to know what's right in front of us. We don't want to know the truth. And that might be the reason why some people are hesitant in beginning this financial planning process. They don't want self-imposed anxiety. I have to tell you, I understand that creating a financial plan and mathematically figuring out where you are in life and the trajectory you're headed on financially could cause anxiety. But what I have found is it actually relieves some anxiety. People at the end of the process say, I am so glad we did this. They look at each other and they say, I am so glad we did this. Or the wife says, I am so glad we went through this. Now I know where everything is. Or the husband may say that, because we have a lot of spouses that, well, today it doesn't matter who's working and who's staying at home, or if both are working. But the reality is people absolutely are glad they went through the process. But I think at first they don't want to, because they're afraid of the unknown.
Yeah, and part of that unknown is the amount of work. It might seem overwhelming, and for many cases it may be, and probably is if you tried it on your own. But several hours a year with financial planners could save your family after you pass away. Because how many times, I'm sure you all have friends, family members, maybe you yourself have experienced the loss of a patriarch or matriarch, and brothers and sisters are torn apart because of they didn't know how to divide the assets. They weren't given that direction from their parents, and you can think about not only in the time, my personal experience. Thank God for my siblings who live up in the Northeast. When my grandfather passed away. The hours, years of trying to make sure that the estate is going on the way it should, and I'm very grateful that we're able to stay together. But it can be a really trying situation.
It doesn't have to be difficult. I mean, financially, you can get organized or you can remain a little less organized. So I just think that people don't wake up on January 1 and with their New Year's resolutions say, this is the year I'm going to get a financial plan. No, they say, this is the year I'm going to start going to the gym.
Mm-hmm. And they go for a couple weeks.
At least the gyms are packed in January.
That's right.
Maybe not this January. But they say, I'm going to get in shape. I'm going to stop drinking so much. I'm going to read more books. Whatever the New Year's resolutions are, I don't think I'm going to get a financial plan is normally in the top 5 or top 10.
Mm-mm.
And what we're suggesting is that think about adding that as one of your New Year's resolutions. Not just so that we can drive more business to our firm. That's not what this is about. It's about you helping you. So there are a lot of great financial advisors in this town. There are a lot of wonderful certified financial planners around that you can meet and spend time with. We hope, obviously, you find us. But at the end of the day, find someone who's good at what they do and have them help you. Mm-hmm. Just make sure they're looking out for your best interest. And this is not some exercise for them to sell you some high commissionable annuity or insurance product. Not to say those are evil. They're not. But you have to understand the motivation behind the person that you're visiting with. And if they're acting in a fiduciary capacity, if they're really following the code of ethics that the CFP board puts out there, then they'll behave properly. So just think about that New Year's resolution.
And that might be a fear that people have. They feel like they're going to go see somebody and be sold something.
That's
so
right.
So they're going to just not do anything at all. And I think, Rob, your point is just so important and can't be emphasized.
Well, and our process is very laid back. We call the first meeting a discovery meeting. Now, why is it a discovery meeting? Well, we are discovering who you are and what you're looking for, and you are discovering who we are and what we stand for and how we help clientele. So the first meeting is just a dialogue. Mm-hmm. It's a get to know each other. You don't have to bring anything to the first meeting. Now, some people do. Mm-hmm. Some people come with a folder of statements and an understanding of their balance sheet, and that's good. Mm-hmm. Because the second meeting is what we call a profile meeting. A profile meeting is a fact-finding meeting, where you're giving us information that makes up your net worth. We're asking you a lot of questions. We're researching what your future Social Security benefits might look like per month. We're uncovering everything. Now, that could be an hour, could be an hour and 20-minute meeting, but it's a profile meeting. Mm-hmm. That's meeting number 2. Sometimes people try to combine meeting number 1 and meeting number 2 together, and that's okay. It just depends upon your comfortability. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, we start with discovery. Then we go to profile meeting. The third meeting is a strategy meeting, and that's where we're actually showing you up on the big screen in our conference room, because we do everything visually, what your trajectory looks like.
Or virtually now, too.
Or virtually.
Yes, or virtually.
So we can share our screen just as though you're in the conference room. Mm-hmm. We've done that about 80% of the time this year.
But the views are much better in person if you're comfortable.
So the strategy meeting really sets forth our glide path, and it helps us understand where we're headed, mm-hmm. and where we should be headed, and the difference between those two. Then we have an implementation meeting. An implementation meeting is us helping you possibly improve the management of some of your accounts. We talk about all the details associated with the investment management, but we implement solutions, okay? And the 5th meeting is a review. Mm-hmm. And then we continue to have review meetings every year.
At least.
I make it a policy in this firm that every advisor who has an advisory client has to have a substantial meeting with their advisory clients at least on an annual basis.
Yeah, and to put into action some of the things, the value of having a plan. Right now, interest rates are low if you're refinancing. How difficult is it to get a statement of all your net worth to get to the banks, to get to the mortgage officers? Our clients give us a call, and they have a balance sheet within minutes.
Within that afternoon.
Everything's there. If God forbid something does happen to you, your children, you don't have to scramble as to whether or not something's going to go through probate. You'll be able to know confidently going into the golden years of your life that if God forbid something happens, your estate will be divvied up the way that it happens. And it reminds me of a book. Gary Keller wrote a book called The One Thing. And the gist of The One Thing was, what is the one thing you can do whereby doing that one thing, everything else will become easier? And if you're anxious about your financial well-being, if you're anxious about your future, whether or not you'll be able to retire, pay for your kids' college, what's the estate going to look like? I promise you that one thing begins with a conversation, with a discovery meeting, with a financial plan so that you can go into that future with the confidence you need, and everything else becomes easier, quite frankly.
No, you're right. I mean, we are here to help, and I believe we can help you if you have not yet started the financial planning process. Even if you have and you want to have a second opinion or another look, we're happy to provide our time to you and your family to just give a second set of eyes. Many people have relationships with financial services representatives, but very few people have a financial planning relationship where an actual written financial plan is recreated or updated every year, where people sit down and we know exactly how to connect the dots from one year to the next, and we know exactly the trajectory we're on. It's very important. Most people do not have that type of relationship. They have an investment management relationship with a stockbroker down the street or a banker or whomever it might be. And those are great people, don't get me wrong. I'm just saying that there's more to it than that. It's not just about investment management, it's about the whole comprehensive financial planning in addition to the investment management.
Yeah, and if you have questions on the investment management side, watch our video from last week. Ben and Rob had a great conversation about that. But getting back to the financial planning side, if you might question if your advisor or your investment manager, your money manager is doing a good job. Well, if you don't have a financial plan, your returns are really irrelevant, right? So how well do you know you're doing if you don't have a plan or a vision for where you're going? So, and that's what we do. That's what we do differently. We borderline insist on making sure that you have a financial plan. And no matter where you are in your life, by the way, at KPP, we have the capability, the scale, the staff, the financial advisors of all age group. Just have a great new financial advisor, Noah Polk, joined us today. We have Ben Hopper, great advisors that are going to be here a long time, CFP, brilliant minds of all ages. So whether in your 20s, beginning your career, whether in the middle of your career and all you have is your 401k, give us a call. It doesn't matter. Or whether you're coming to the end and you want to move into the retirement years of your life, it doesn't matter, because if you don't have a plan, where you are, you're there by luck. Yeah. If you're there well, and if you want to get to where you're going, you could still get there, but like a ship without a rudder. If you're a ship without a rudder, you might get to where you want to go, but it would only be lucky. So
that's a good analogy. Speaking of our advisors, we have really wonderful advisors here at KPP. And we did add another one effective today. And Noah Polk just joined our team. He is 28 years old. He accomplished his CFP designation when he was around 25 or 26. He was working with Hilliard Lyons, and then that turned into Baird. So he came over to us just recently. Today is day one.
Day one.
And
couldn't be more excited
we are very, very, very excited to have Noah. And we will have him on a show here soon. Yes. We will introduce Noah and do a spotlight on him.
You should have seen his face when I told him he was going to be on today. It's 10 minutes before
we have good people. I think we're good people. We just want to help others that want to help themselves. don't be afraid of this. We're fun to hang out with, actually, and we've got great staff. But we are here to help you. And I'm passionate about what we do. I've been doing this since 1989, so that's 31 years. And I'm 54 years old now, and plan to stay engaged for another 20 years because I love what I do. I love coming to work and helping our client families. It's the best part of my day.
Amen.
Oh, you have a Social Security WebEx educational event this Thursday. You want to tell the audience a little bit about that?
Absolutely. So the first Thursday of every month, I'm going to be teaching, or have been teaching, a Social Security webinar. It is a private webinar, so registration is required. There will be a link that will be going up on our Facebook page. You're welcome to check that out. If you want to get notifications on when our Facebook Lives come up, make sure you follow us on Facebook so that you can know when we're doing these conversations. We might have more impromptu classes. Make sure you're sharing this video with your friends, family members, loved ones, because throughout the week we're just, again, blown away by the comments, the responses, and the views that we're getting. So the response has been overwhelming. Share ideas, things that you want us to talk about during these classes, and we're having fun doing this. And whether it's Social Security, whether it's conversations like this, we're going to be interviewing business owners locally, executives in town. So in lieu of COVID-19, we've really found this to be a great opportunity to connect the community together in a way that we wouldn't have been able to imagine. So so check that out, the Social Security class. Go to our website, www.kpp/lpl.com.
Hyphen LPL.com.
Pardon me, hyphen LPL.com. Right. Like us on Facebook. If you have any questions, if you feel like you could benefit or need a financial plan, you want to take that first step. Again, we can lead a horse to water, but we cannot make them drink. You have to hold yourself accountable and take that step for yourself, for your loved ones, for your family, and we will be more than happy and glad to walk you through that process. And I promise you, every single person that does it sits back in that chair with a look of relief and says,
"They do.
I can't believe I didn't do this before."
They really do.
Yeah, and it reminds me of a story. I'll close you with this. There was a couple I met in Bloomington, Indiana several years ago. And it was a little old couple. Lady was probably 72, her husband's 74, been married 50 years. And after they had walked through a financial plan, the lady looked at her husband and said, "I didn't know you were a millionaire. I've never slept with a millionaire before." So little 73-year-old lady, I'll never forget that story. So who knows? Who knows what it could be for you.
That's funny. Yeah. Well, we enjoy this very much. I think the audience will enjoy our future interviews with local business owners.
Yes.
I think those, I'm very excited about those. I'm just so tickled that we're being able to bring this content to all of you. We hope this is helpful. If anything else, we hope this allows you the opportunity to get to know us. Mm-hmm. Because at the end of the day, this business is all about trust. Mm-hmm. It's all about trust. And that's ultimately, at the end of the day, what we're selling is our ability to put your interests first always, and for you to know that we have your back always. And that's our profession, and that's why I love coming in every day.
Well, again, we're here at the Flash Cube building on the corner of Shelbyville Road and Hurstbourne Lane. I like to call it the heart of Louisville's East End. Our phone number is 502-394-0400. If you have questions, comments, concerns, feel free to give us a call. We're always available for you. As always, we appreciate you watching. I'm Kyle Roy, and on behalf of Rob Davenport, President of Kentucky Planning Partners, thank you for watching. Share us, and we'll look forward to talking to you soon.
Thank you.